road to the White House, the choice continues. Reporting now from Dillon, South Carolina, Jim Heath.
We're here at J.V. Martin Middle School in Dillon, where Senator Barack Obama brought his presidential campaign prior to South Carolina's primary. It's places like these all across the country where Obama has been emphasizing the need for change, and changes in education are at the top of his agenda. It's also here where Obama and I went one-on-one to talk about issues of race, the Clintons, and his own historic bid for the presidency. For Barack Obama, his own journey started far away from here, actually in Honolulu, Hawaii. And perhaps what's most impressive of all is how little time it's taken for him to seize control of the National Democratic Party.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
4 years ago, little-known Illinois State Senator Barack Obama was the keynote speaker at the Democratic National Convention. Arguably the best speaker in a lineup that included John Edwards, Ted Kennedy, and nominee John Kerry. Obama's moment in the spotlight hadn't taken very long. Elected to the state legislature just 8 years earlier, there he developed, by all accounts, a thin legislative resume. And he also learned about defeat. In 2000, Obama made a primary challenge against incumbent Democratic Congressman Bobby Rush. Obama lost by a 2-1 margin. But he bounced back, winning an easy victory for the U.S. Senate in November 2004. It wasn't so long after that when Obama was bit by the prospect of running for president. A long way for a man who was born 47 years ago in Honolulu, Hawaii, to a white mother from Kansas and a black father from Kenya. In 1959, Barack Obama Sr. left behind a pregnant wife and a son in Kenya to come to the United States to study economics at the University of Hawaii. There, he met 18-year-old Ann Dunham, a white Kansas native, and in 1961 they married. Soon, Barack Obama Jr. was born. But the marriage lasted less than 2 years when Obama Sr. left Hawaii to attend Harvard. Obama's mother Ann remarried, and his new stepfather moved the family to Indonesia. Obama lived in Jakarta from the age of 6 to 10. While there, he attended local schools which had a predominantly Muslim student population. While Obama's father and stepfather were both Muslim, Barack Obama was not. He'd be baptized into a Christian church nearly 20 years later. That decision, with his father being Muslim and Obama being baptized into Christianity, has some religious experts questioning whether Islamic extremists like Osama bin Laden would consider Obama guilty of apostasy, the worst Muslim crime. In 2008, can Barack Hussein Obama be elected President of the United States?
Well, yeah, that's the question that we'll find out in the coming months. So far, we're doing pretty good. I don't get a sense that I'm getting a lot of resistance because of my race or the fact that my father was from Kenya, and so I've got a foreign-sounding name.
When he was 10, Obama asked his mother if he could return to Hawaii to live with his grandparents. It was about this time when Obama says he realized his biracial roots were different than most of his classmates. When you saw the copy of Time magazine asking the question, is Obama black enough? Is that still relevant in a campaign in 2008?
The truth of the matter is, when I go into a barbershop on the south side of Chicago, nobody's asking, whether I am sufficiently authentically black. It speaks to, I think, some of the issues that we still have as a culture in terms of race. And one of the things that we're trying to do is, when I say we, I say myself, my wife, whose grandparents came from Georgetown in South Carolina. One of the things we're trying to project is that there's no one way to be African American, and we're not going to play into stereotypes about how we should behave. We're Americans. We have full claim on this country, and we want our children to feel that regardless of their skin color or their name or their background, that they have an opportunity to be part of the American community.
Faced with issues of race and living away from his mother, who remained for a time in Indonesia, Obama was enrolled in the largest private school in Hawaii. It was here where he would be known as Barry Obama for his skills on the basketball team. Skills on the court that he has kept to this day, as evidenced by this video that we shot on the afternoon he toured J.V. Martin Middle School in Dillon. His father would never see him play ball. Obama would see him just once during his youth before Obama Sr. died in a car accident. Years later, Obama would return to Kenya to meet family members for the very first time.
So one of the things that we're here in front of this van to do today is my wife and I are going to get tested for HIV/AIDS.
A 2006 trip included his wife and a visit with his grandmother.
It is wonderful to be home. It's wonderful to see Granny. The last time I was here was with Michelle right before we got married. And I had to make sure that my new wife met the approval of Granny. And she said she's good.
Obama also visited his father's gravesite. Obama never knew his father well, but says he thinks of him often during this campaign. From yet another direction, the issues of religion and race nearly derailed Obama's primary effort against Hillary Clinton this year when tapes surfaced showing his longtime pastor and friend, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, questioning whether the events of 9/11 were brought on by America itself.
America's chickens are coming home to roost.
Obama has since resigned as a member of Wright's church. He probably never thought that questions of religion beginning in his childhood would follow him into a campaign for president. It was during his high school years and then at Occidental College in Los Angeles when Obama admits to being in the party scene, drinking, smoking pot, even doing cocaine.
You know, I think it was typical of a teenager who was confused about who he was and what his place in the world was, and thought that experimenting with drugs was a way to rebel.
After transferring from Occidental, Obama graduated from Columbia University in New York and several years later moved to Chicago. It was there when his career collided with his political ambition. He became a community organizer, and he also joined Trinity United Church of Christ. In the fall of 1988, Obama headed to Harvard to get a law degree that he knew would be important in a political career. While there, he became the first black president of the Harvard Law Review. In 1991, law degree in hand, Obama returned to Chicago. A year after that, he married his wife Michelle, and at age 35, he was elected to the Illinois State Senate. During his state legislative years, Obama worked on a variety of issues, and he publicly opposed America going to war in Iraq. It was in 2004 when Obama, still a state senator, was invited to be the keynote speaker at the Democratic National Convention.
Tonight, we gather to affirm the greatness of our nation.
In the fall, Obama faced Republican Alan Keyes, a former ambassador and noted conservative. Keyes went on the attack, even questioning whether Obama was black enough.
I think your logic wasn't that complicated. It was just wrong.
On Election Day, Obama won big.
He's one of the new stars in the Democratic Party. We're going to show you in the state of Illinois, Barack Obama. We'll be hearing a lot more from Barack Obama in the course of the next several years.
After his victory to the U.S. Senate, it was just a matter of time until Obama would begin an aggressive campaign to win the Democratic nomination for president.
The shadow of the old state capitol, where Lincoln once called on a house divided to stand together, where common hopes and common dreams still live, I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for president of the United States of America.
That campaign would bring him here to South Carolina many times before the primary to talk about his campaign slogan, Change, and specifically how it relates to education. We are sitting in a school built back in 1896, leading to the question, are all of America's children getting quality education?
Well, I don't think they are. I think that the superintendent and the principal and the teachers here are doing a heroic job trying to keep it together. But they're not getting a lot of help. They've got a building built in 1896. Parts of the building are crumbling and can no longer be used. It's a tough environment for kids to learn in, and certainly a tough environment for teachers to teach in.
Obama's received a quick education in the study of a modern national campaign this year, constantly nagged by questions about his religion, patriotism, and race. And it hasn't just been Republicans on the attack. Obama's primary opponent for the nomination, Senator Hillary Clinton of New York, regularly questioned whether Obama was more celebrity than leader, and she challenged his judgment, including his involvement with Chicago dealmaker Tony Rezko, who had raised money for Obama's Senate campaign. Rezko would later be indicted for influence peddling.
I was fighting against those ideas when you were practicing law and representing your contributor, Rezko, in his slum landlord business in inner city Chicago.
In what Obama calls a boneheaded mistake, he purchased property from Rezko at a time Rezko was under investigation by federal prosecutors. Obama was not accused of wrongdoing, and he has returned Rezko's campaign money. But Hillary wasn't the only Clinton on the attack. Former President Bill Clinton got into trouble when he played the race card when he lumped Obama's primary win in South Carolina to Jesse Jackson's back in 1988. At the time of our interview, Obama was reserved in talking about putting the former president out in front for Democrats this fall.
Well, I think Bill Clinton is extraordinarily talented. He was a successful president by and large on a lot of important issues. But I think that what will ultimately determine whether we win is how well we project into the future.
Attracting huge crowds and bringing new voters into the process, Obama believes his message can best project that future.
What I believe is that I can unify this country, get out of the red state and blue state divide, get out of the racial divide. Let's solve our problems in a common sense kind of way. That's what I think America's hungry for.
Barack Obama and John McCain, two men with very different backgrounds, each offering a different vision for the future of our country. One thing is for certain, whichever one wins will make history. The choice is yours. On location with photojournalist Kevin Abity, I'm Jim Heath. Thanks for joining us.